Apply multiple functions to multiple Groupby columns. The docs show how to apply multiple functions on a Groupby object at a time using a date with the output column names as the keys. However, this only works on a series Groupby object. And when a date is similarly passed to a Groupby data frame, it expects the keys to be the column names that the function will be applied to. What I want to do is apply multiple functions to several columns, but certain columns will be operated on multiple times. Also, some functions will depend on other columns in the Groupby object, like sumif functions. My current solution is to go column by column, and doing something like the code above, using lambdas for functions that depend on other rows. But this is taking a long time. I think it takes a long time to iterate through a Groupby object. I'll have to change it so that I iterate through the whole Groupby object in a single run, but I'm wondering if there's a built-in way in pandas to do this somewhat cleanly. For example, I've tried something like but as expected, I get a key error, since the keys have to be a column if egg is called from a data frame. Is there any built-in way to do what I'd like to do, or a possibility that this functionality may be added, or will I just need to iterate through the Groupby manually?
For the first part, you can pass a dict of column names for keys and a list of functions for the values. Update 1. Because the aggregate function works on series, references to the other column names are lost. To get around this, you can reference the full data frame and index it using the group indices within the lambda function. Here's a hacky workaround. Here, the resultant dth column is made up of the summed e values. Update 2. Here's a method that I think will do everything you ask. First, make a custom lambda function. Below, G references the group. When aggregating, G will be a series. Passing G.index to df.9 selects the current group from df. I then test if column C is less than 0.5. The returned Boolean series is passed to G, which selects only those rows meeting the criteria.
The second half of the currently accepted answer is outdated and has two deprecations. First and most important, you can no longer pass a dictionary of dictionaries to the aggregate-Groupby method. Second, never use .9. If you desire to work with two separate columns at the same time, I would suggest using the apply method, which implicitly passes a data frame to the applied function. Let's use a similar data frame as the one from above. A dictionary mapped from column names to aggregation functions is still a perfectly good way to perform an aggregation. If you don't like that ugly lambda column name, you can use a normal function and supply a custom name to the special __name _ attribute like this. Using apply and returning a series. Now, if you had multiple columns that needed to interact together, then you cannot use agg, which implicitly passes a series to the aggregating function. When using apply, the entire group as a data frame gets passed into the function. I recommend making a single custom function that returns a series of all the aggregations. Use the series index as labels for the new columns. If you are in love with multi-indexes, you can still return a series with one like this.
As an alternative, mostly on aesthetics, to Ted Petru's answer, I found I preferred a slightly more compact listing. Please don't consider accepting it, it's just a much more detailed comment on Ted's answer, plus code data. Python pandas is not my first to best, but I found this to read well. I find it more reminiscent of DPL wire pipes and data.table chained commands. Not to say they're better, just more familiar to me. I certainly recognize the power and, for many, the preference of using more formalized def functions for these types of operations. This is just an alternative, not necessarily better. I generated data in the same manner as Ted. I'll add a seed for reproducibility.
Pandas is greater than or equal to 0.25.0, named aggregations. Since pandas version 0.25.0 or higher, we are moving away from the dictionary-based aggregation and renaming, and moving towards named aggregations which accepts a tuple. Now we can simultaneously aggregate plus rename to a more informative column name. Example. Apply Groupby.ag with named aggregation.
Santa became clearly